Hello everyone, I'm Tempo, a Principal AI Consultant at AI Singapore. Welcome to Chapter 1 of AI for Everyone, Multilingual version. This is the first of 3 chapters in this short series. In this chapter, I'll be covering the following key concepts. First, I'll briefly explain what is AI. There's only one key difference that separates AI from traditional software or programs. Next, I'll explain how AI works. To give you a clue, AI is not magic. Most of us will have practiced developing AI on paper during our school days. Lastly, I'll share some existing applications of AI in Singapore. AI is used in our local community to make our life better, but we might not have noticed their applications. So what's AI? AI is a system or software that can learn to improve itself without explicit instructions from humans. The ability to learn is a key differentiating factor between traditional software and AI. A traditional software system does not have the ability to learn to improve itself. This ability allows AI to have a variety of applications, such as the ability to see, hear, speak, feel, and move. AI uses computer visions to see and learn from its surroundings, thereby enabling self-driving cars. AI uses natural language processing to understand human speeches and writing, thereby allowing it to understand and translate words for us. AI, in the field of robotics, uses a variety of sensors to feel and move. Wow, there's a lot of interesting applications for AI, isn't it? But before we go deeper, let me share with you some common terms that people use when they are talking about AI. When you read about AI, you might come across different terms, such as machine learning and deep learning. They are all related. Again, AI is used to describe any programs that can sense, reason, adapt, and act. Even a simple rule-based system, such as automatically turning off aircon when it senses that you leave the house, is considered AI. Machine learning is a subset of AI. Machine learning refers to a branch of AI that uses the algorithm to improve its performance as they are exposed to more data. If your aircon has the ability to learn your usage behavior over time and adjust its setting automatically, then it has moved from AI to machine learning. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning. It uses something called neural networks to improve its performance over time with more data. The design of neural networks is inspired by how our brain functions and requires large amount of data to perform well. Most of the interesting applications of AI, such as self-driving cars, Google Translate, and Amazon Alexa, are made possible by deep learning. At this point, you might be wondering, so how exactly AI works underneath the hood? Is it some sort of magic that somehow possesses human cognitive ability? The answer is no. In our early school days, our math teachers will ask us to draw multiple points on a green graph paper, followed by a straight line that best captures the relationship between all the points. Subsequently, when we have new data, we could predict the value of this new data by checking it against the straight line that we have drawn. What we have gone through is called linear regression. This is perhaps the simplest form of AI because whenever there are new data points, the best fit line will be adjusted. This fulfills our earlier definition of AI, the ability to learn and improve itself. There are different forms of AI. Some might be more complex due to the nature of the data, but others could be as simple as linear regression if the data is simple and linear in nature. Therefore, AI is not magic. AI is just a fanciful way of describing and using math to develop self-learning algorithms. Now that we have understood what is AI and how it works, let's explore some of AI applications used in our local community in Singapore. AI is already in our community without us noticing. During the circuit breaker period in Singapore, the government introduced a robot at Bishan America Park to remind people about social distancing. Inside the campus of NUS, there is a driverless shuttle bus to ferry students and staff across the campus. AI Singapore has also developed an open source AI solution that can measure people's distance from each other to ensure compliance with social distancing. All these applications use computer vision for the AI to make sense of its surroundings and respond accordingly. AI is also used inside our local indoor vegetables farms. Based on the census readings, the AI can automate certain processes, such as watering of plants or putting more fertilizer to improve the farm's productivity. On the Singapore government websites, they have introduced Ask Jamie chatbot, where citizens can ask questions and get quick reply. AI Singapore has also introduced our own speech-to-text engine to translate multiple languages in real time. This is different from typical speech-to-text applications, where they could only translate one predetermined language to another. Both applications use natural language processing for the AI to make sense of our speeches and texts and respond accordingly. Before we end off this segment, let's watch an interesting demonstration of AI Singapore speech-to-text.
Hello，是 police 吗？我要报警啊！我刚才看到那几个小孩子在那个 playground 那边人给 anyhow 抽那些 rubbish 现在我是在那个 the Woodland Central there. Yeah, can you all hurry up come? Yeah, they also play until very loud.
Here's a recap of this chapter. What is AI? AI is any system or software that can learn to improve itself with more data. How does AI work? AI is not magic, it is just math. Even a simple linear regression is considered AI. What are the common applications of AI? AI is already all around us without us noticing. They make our life better and more convenient. Given the understanding of AI now, you might be wondering what are the different types of AI. I will share more with you in the next chapter of this series. Welcome to Chapter 2 of AI for Everyone, Multilingual version. This is the second of 3 chapters in this short series. In this chapter, I'll be covering the following key concepts. First, I'll describe the common types of machine learning. We call that machine learning is a subset of AI. And although there are many different applications of machine learning, most of them fall under just 2 types. Next, I'll explain the key differences for each type of machine learning. The key difference that separate the 2 common types of ML lies within the data available. Lastly, I will share the main commercial applications of each type of ML. There are 2 types of machine learning, supervised learning and unsupervised learning. I'll first talk about supervised learning. The best way to understand supervised learning is to imagine teaching a child how to solve a math problem. You can teach by giving multiple examples of problem, and the child will learn by making and correcting his or her mistakes. Eventually, he or she will learn to solve the problems on their own. It is the same concept for machine learning. You will provide data for the AI to learn. The data should contain the right answer for each task. If the AI makes a mistake, you will penalize the AI. It will then seek to improve itself by updating its algorithm, and eventually, it will learn how to do the task. Essentially, in supervised learning, you want the AI to learn to do a task correctly by providing multiple examples. Can you think of applications that supervised learning can be used for? The first type of supervised learning is classification. Classification is applied whenever the task covers answering questions that involve yes or no, this or that. The most common application of classification is image classification, or separating images into their respective categories. For instance, if you have a collection of dog and cat pictures, you can train an AI to automatically recognize the animal and separate the images into their respective folders. Other common applications of classification include: will existing customers extend their contracts with us? The AI can highlight potential customers who will not be renewing their contracts and therefore allow sales team to follow up, such as offering renewal contract discount. Does this review contain a positive or negative sentiment? The AI can detect the mood of the consumer based on their reviews and provide input to the marketing department on how consumers are reacting to their products or services. Is this email spam? The AI can identify spam emails and move them to the junk folder. In summary, classification is used when the outcome involves a label or category. The second type of supervised learning is regression. Regression is applied whenever the task covers answering questions that involves continuous value, such as the dollar amount of an item. The most common application of regression is price prediction. For instance, if you are buying a HDB apartment and you would like to know its fair market value, you can train an AI to predict the price given the characteristics of the HDB apartment, such as its total floor area and location. Other common applications of regression include: when will the next bus arrive? The AI can evaluate the distance between the bus to your location and the traffic conditions to predict the arrival time of the bus. How likely is it going to rain tomorrow? The AI can learn how today's weather patterns can affect tomorrow's weather conditions. What are the sales numbers for next quarter? The AI can read through news and internal emails to predict how well the company might perform in next quarter. In summary, regression is used when the outcome involves a continuous value. The next common type of machine learning is unsupervised learning. If you recall, supervised learning is like teaching a child how to solve a math problem by using multiple examples. There is a correct answer which the child can learn from. It is different for unsupervised learning. There is no correct or right way of solving the task. The AI will have to figure it out. Imagine you have a basket of toys and you ask the kid to separate similar ones into groups. At first, he will play with the toys randomly, but eventually, he will find his own way to best group similar items together. There is no correct way to group the toys together. It will be dependent on what your child thinks is the right approach. Sometimes, the result might be unexpected. It is the same concept for unsupervised learning. You provide the data to the AI and you learn the best way to group the data together. There is no right answer on how it should be done. The AI will figure it out on its own. Therefore, the learning is unsupervised. Essentially, for unsupervised learning, you want the AI to find similar data and group them together. So what applications can unsupervised learning be used for? The most common type of unsupervised learning is grouping. Grouping is a machine learning technique that clusters data together based on their similarities. For example, you have a collection of shapes. You can train an AI to group similar shapes together. In this example, the AI might learn to group all objects with 4 corners together, and hence, the rectangle is grouped together with squares. Other common applications of unsupervised learning include customer segmentation. The AI can identify common characteristics among customers and group them together. This way, we can create targeted marketing message to each groups for better results. Determine similar product types. This use case is the same as customer segmentation, but instead of people, the AI is now grouping similar products. Recommendation engines. The AI can attempt to recommend you products based on the details provided during registration. For instance, if other people in their 30s like to listen to classical music, the AI might recommend classical music to you if your profile matches theirs. In summary, clustering or unsupervised learning is used when you want to group similar data together. Here's the recap of this chapter. There are 2 common types of machine learning: supervised and unsupervised learnings. Supervised learning requires you to provide answers to train the AI model. Unsupervised learning doesn't require you to provide answers to train the AI model. Supervised learning is used when you want to identify which category the data point belongs to, such as whether it's a spam email or non-spam email, or when you want to predict value of something, such as the resale price of your car. Unsupervised learning is used when you want to group similar data together, such as customers with similar purchase behavior. Given the multiple applications of machine learning, you might be wondering if it can replace our jobs. I will share with you more in the next and final chapter of this series. See you there. Welcome to Chapter 3 of AI for Everyone, Multilingual version. This is the last of 3 chapters in this short series. In this last chapter, I'll be covering the following key concepts. First, given the self-learning ability and vast applications of AI, will AI replace our jobs? Next, I'll list some resources available to get you started in AI. Most of the resources are free and online, which means you can learn them at your own pace. Lastly, I will share some of the career opportunities in AI The good news is that not all of the roles require postgraduate qualifications. I would like to share with you an interesting story to answer the question of whether AI will replace our jobs. In 2018, a company developed an AI to review non-disclosure agreements, or NDAs. To test the performance of the AI model, the company challenged a group of top corporate lawyers in US on reviewing NDAs. The results? The AI is more accurate and faster than the lawyers. The responses from the lawyers are interesting. Instead of feeling threatened, they are excited by the AI. Why? Reviewing NDAs is usually boring and low-value activity. One of the lawyers thought that the AI will be useful as it allows lawyers to focus on more complex projects. What does she mean by that? Let me illustrate. Imagine you are the person at the center. Your job is made of many different tasks. Some are simple, like doing inventory stock taking, and some are complex, like negotiating with suppliers. If an AI was developed to take over some of the simple, boring tasks, what will you do? Well, you can pass those tasks over to the AI. With the additional time on hand, you can then take on more complex and higher order tasks. This way, you'll learn new skills, create new values, and hopefully get a pay raise. Another interesting response from a lawyer is he believes that the future of law is human and computer versus human and computer. What does he mean by that? In the future, more jobs will require digital literacy. Learning in-demand skills is the best way to stay resilient and future-proof your career. The World Economic Forum has published a report stating that technology design and programming is the most valuable job skills, and its demand is expected to grow till 2022. Therefore, there is no better time than now to pick up new skills. AI Singapore has developed courses to help you get started on AI. You are currently watching the abridged version of AI for Everyone. If you are keen to learn more, you can watch our full version on our website. It is a 3 hours long program comprising of theory and hands-on to build a simple AI model. Those who are keen to advance further can register for our AI for Industry program, where you learn how to program in Python programming language and build AI models from scratch. Other than AI Singapore, big names from the industry like Microsoft, Google, Intel, and Amazon have also developed courses to educate people on AI. No matter which course you choose to take, they are all good and should get you started on AI. Now, you might be wondering, am I too old to learn AI? Absolutely not. Let's watch an inspiring video by IMDA featuring Kevin.
What does my future look like? I always imagine retiring and traveling around the world. That's what I would say if you asked me in the past.
Now I'm an AI consultant. I help companies make use of this new technology to improve their business performance. And you know, many companies, they want to use AI, but they don't know how. So I give them advice and help them explore opportunities.
Customers have problems to solve, and we have solutions for them.
But
Of course, it is not as simple. My name is Kevin, and as you can see, I'm not very young, and my colleagues are not very old.
But
If you think about it, we're the same. We write code, we wear t-shirt and jeans to work, and we drink bubble tea. Except maybe for the wrinkles. I spent more than 25 years in sales and marketing, and it was very comfortable. Things like checking code, I wouldn't know how to do.
this is where I had my first technical interview. In the past, I was the one interviewing people, but now I was the one being interviewed. It was totally out of my comfort zone. During my time, we used to have just one professional skill, and that will see us through our entire career.
But now I have to learn technical skills like Python, R, revise my math, and many other things.
I think passion is the most important thing in learning new skills. Let me show you where we come up with all the good ideas.
Actually, my ex-colleague asked me, aren't you afraid of going back to school? Well, this is nothing like school. The program under the Tesla initiative gave us customers and real-life problems to solve. And there were great mentors and colleagues to work with. We were also given a stipend, and that financial support allowed us to focus on our training. So you ask me what my future looks like? There's so many possibilities. But I know it will be exciting. and bright.
Come in!
And I'm just getting started.
How was the video? I find it very inspiring and hope it is the same for you. There are multiple job roles related to AI, but not all of them requires coding skills. They are essential roles that support different aspects of an AI project. They are jobs that support AI development work, such as a software engineer, jobs that catalyze the commercialization of an AI solution, like a product manager, and jobs that ensure the data privacy, such as data protection officer. SkillsFuture has a comprehensive skills framework for Infocom technology job roles. You can check their website for more information on the skills required for the various jobs in this sector. Here's the recap of this last chapter. A job consists of multiple tasks. AI task file can only perform specific tasks that they are trained to do. Therefore, they are unlikely to replace our jobs. There are free online courses by AI Singapore and the industry, which can help you get started. This means you can learn about AI at your free time without paying anything. There are multiple career opportunities in the AI ecosystem. Not all roles require you to be an expert coder. You can find out more information about each of the role and its requisite from SkillsFuture website. This brings us to the end of this 3-part series on AI for everyone, multilingual version. I hope you enjoy it and become inspired to learn about AI and perhaps even consider a career in it. Thanks for your attention and time.